welcome to this Child Town Council meeting this evening. We are going to start with public participation time. There is 15 minutes allocated to public participation time. I will read the names in the list. You can manage your own time, but once that 15 minutes is up, that will be end of public participation time. So the first person on my list is Pauline Lawton.
Good evening, councillors, officers and members of the public. Firstly, I would like to thank the officers for their efficient replies to my flurry of recent emails. There are so many questions about the much-awaited Rowley report, none of which we suspect will be answered tonight. I know Child Town Council is reviewing its bullying and harassment policy. My question to each councillor is to ask, what does zero tolerance bullying mean to you? I know what it means to me, and I know what it means to these people behind me. We can only hope that remembering the Nolan principles of public life, selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership, that each one of you can live with the way that you vote and act on the report, and Child Town Council can be proud to say they fully adhere to zero tolerance bullying. Thank you for listening.
Tim Eggins, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Here we are, potentially on the eve of publishing the report on work practices and behaviour within Child Town Council. But I wish to speak on behalf of those who did not meet the investigator and are not in the report, the other victims. They were invited but declined. Why decline? Surely everyone has information to share. These individuals were deemed by those in a position of power as a threat, uncontrollable, or not part of the in-crowd. These victims were worn down, demoralised until they relinquished their positions as employees or elected representatives. When offered to recount their experiences, they could not bear to revisit their memories. They had suffered immense pressure, sleepless nights, tears and emotional breakdowns. Some would say these are symptoms of PTSD. They stood as individuals against bullies, looking to the monitoring officer for assistance or even contacting the late Paddy Ashdown for support. But ultimately, they succumbed and departed Child Town Council, leaving Child itself worse off. And you will see that even a report does not capture everybody's thoughts. I hope this moment in time, this enough is enough moment, brings a close to the chapter of intimidation, harassment and gamesmanship. That we move forward to collaboration, honesty and transparency. My greatest regret is that we did not act sooner. Maybe we would not have lost so many good people. Thank you.
Harry Bell, please.
Mine's a quick one. Does the council have integrity and leadership?
Sarah Little, please.
The problem within the council is sustained bullying and intimidation, costing us a lot of money and hindering the proper function of the council and its administration, is now widely known and it has brought disrepute. You are our representatives and we, the demos, are invested in how you serve us and what happens with the trust we place upon you to behave according to the principles incumbent upon public public servants. Councillor Baker recently wrote in his column for the local press, "Hatred and bullying destroy lives and should be stopped." I'm sure the reported 4 permanent and 2 temporary clerks will Lord Mayor, a number of councillors and some members of the public who have been affected by the sustained bullying and intimidation from someone or some people sitting on this council agree. There are 7 accepted principles of public office, we've heard them. These are appended to the council's own code of conduct. Your words say the following: as a representative of this council, your actions impact on how the council as a whole is viewed by the public. It is important, therefore, that you do not do anything when undertaking council business which you could not justify to the public. It is not enough to avoid actual impropriety. You should at all times avoid any occasion for suspicion or appearance of improper conduct. When undertaking council business, you must treat others with respect, not use or attempt to use your position as a member improperly to give yourself or any other person an advantage or disadvantage. You must not bully any person. Your second appendix tells us bullying means offensive, intimidating, malicious, insulting or humiliating behaviour based on abuse or misuse of power or authority which attempts to undermine. Disrepute means that a lack of good reputation or respectability which can be reasonably regarded as reducing the public's confidence in that member being able to fulfil their role or adversely affecting the reputation of members generally in being able to fulfil their role. And those are your words. So, will any person or persons identified in the report as having fallen consistently short of those principles now do what is honourable and resign? And if not, will the Mayor or anyone invested with a duty to do so call for that or those resignations? Further, can the Council give us, the public, a date or deadline for the report's release into our site in accord with those principles of public office? This Council must be seen to act in order to begin to lend the trust in our social contract that this behaviour has broken. Thank you.
Louise Allen, please.
Good evening, Town Council. Good evening, everyone behind me. Thank you for coming. This is a very serious issue, one I know very well as an ex-bullying and harassment TUC trained bullying officer. Everything I have seen is repugnant. Everyone here is disillusioned. I have a question for you. It's a moral question and a financial question. Does Chard Town Council care about taxpayers' money? Do you care that in the last few years you have cost us running up to £250,000 of our money, which is now dead money. Money that could have gone to help people, feed people. Let me give you the breakdown of my approximations based on how I would do my research. Payoffs from 2015 of officers and staff, approximately 150,000. The judicial review, Jason, the judicial review that cost us £60,000 for incorrect voting. Wasted man hours and meetings of members of your staff and members of the public, estimate 10k. The Rowley report, why we're all here, £5,000. The legal fees after the Rowley report to find out if we can actually see the names of the people who have committed the bullying, £3,000. All our time, your time, wasted. The moral question is, how does this sit with your conscience? How does it sit with everyone's conscience out here? This building is a symbol of power. The columns out there, made from stone, are reflections and symbols of power from another bygone age. The costumes you wear, I feel, have gone to your heads. Democracy is different. We want something different. I personally think you should be ashamed of yourselves. And I also ask those who are guilty to resign. Thank you.
Nigel Mergen? Mergen, I want to say? Sorry, I didn't pronounce that correctly.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. First of all, can I make a plea on behalf of those old and hard of hearing to Councillor, please speak clearly, speak into your microphones. This building is horrendous acoustics, and if you speak like this away and turning, it goes up into the air. So,
and I'm not switched on, so. And first of all, switch them on. Sorry about that. That's really, thanks, that really was kind. What I've come to say very briefly is this. Child recently lost a doctor's surgery, which was built with great hopes and welcomed by the population of Child, particularly those living in that part around Mitchell Gardens and Summerfields Road. And now we're due, and as the other two surgeries have merged, we're down from having had 3 doctors' practices in the town down to 1. How that works out with an increased population, that's unfortunately not my problem. What I wanted to say was that I happened to walk past only days after the surgery at Summerfields Road was emptied, and there was a lot of hammering and banging and people coming and going in there. So I wandered over and talked to someone who was standing outside that looked like a kind of supervisor and said what was going on. He said, oh, well, we're converting it into a migrant hostel. Maybe he was pulling my leg, I don't know, but he seemed serious. I did mutter something about planning permission and so on. He said, well, that's not my problem, Gov. I'm just getting on with the work. And it seemed incredible to me that days after the surgery closes, that it's been turned into something quite different. Personally, I quite accept the fact that Child should accept responsibility for its share of the migrant crisis. But what I do think is that it should not be hidden away. This seems to be done very quickly without any publicity. I have not seen any kind of publicity of any kind about this. I hope that you, members of the Town Council, will, if you don't know about it already, inform yourselves about it, and that you will keep us, the public, particularly those residents in that part of Child around the Summerfields surgery, Springmead surgery as it was called, will, I'm sorry? I hope that we will be kept informed about what's happening, because undoubtedly it's something which is going to possibly create a lot of publicity which would not be very welcomed by anyone in the town. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think Councillor Baker can answer that question quite quickly. I'm not aware of the answer.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. As you're probably aware, we need change of use for that to happen. I'm not aware of any change of use coming through or anything in the pipeline at this time, but I will double check tomorrow with the planning office, and I'll go let both Mr. Morgan and the clerk.
so you can answer some questions.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Moving on to Connor Payne.
Oh, right. As a member of the public, I firstly want to say I'm quite disappointed by the general conduct by which we're operating this evening, with sighing at audience's members' questions. You know what I mean. Anyway, moving on. I just firstly want to say, if this evening we do move on to public question time, the Council does move on to public question time, just to make sure that is very clearly addressed and the reasons why for the members in the audience. So going on, if the Council this evening votes to publish their report with names redacted, will those who believe they are implicated be resigning from this Council? That is, if names are redacted. Will those who hold conscience, knowing that they may be implicated in that report, do the right thing and resign from the Council? My other question is, why does this Council keep running from accountability? Very important. And finally, if you do vote to release, but without your names, will you resign just on the principle that the democratic petition that I submitted to you just at the last Town Council meeting has clearly been ignored? Thank you.
Okay, that's just over 15 minutes. That's the end of public participation time.
I mean, it's question time. Can we expect
It's
an
public
answer
participation.
on any of these questions?
It's public participation time, and the emails have been taken down, and they will get a formal response from the office. Thank you.
I think due to the consequence of us all being here, that 15 minutes should be extended, because this is not a normal meeting. This is here so we can discuss the bullying that's been going on and is now affecting the whole of Charles Town. So limiting us to 15 minutes is not the correct measures that you should be taking at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm taking advice from my officers that are next to me, and I don't actually have to carry on any further than 15 minutes because it is advertised as 15 minutes. However, there is 3 other people on my list, and I will give them 2 minutes each on this occasion.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next person on my list is Andy Webb.
I'm not here to ask you what to do. I'm going to tell you a story. Today I dealt with a suicide prevention in South Charles Church. It took 4 of us 4 hours to make sure this beneficiary was safe. The reason why? Bullying. That's the consequence that you are having on the public. If any of you can stand and look yourself in the mirror and not take consequences of what you're doing, then I question your integrity. Those that are complicit should stand down immediately, because it's people like me that get called into the end. I've lost 1 person to suicide within the child parish. I've saved 7. Can you live with that? I bet you can't, because it hounds me every single day. So they're the consequences that you are putting onto this community. And if you can't hold your head in shame for that, you're not worthy to be here.
Amanda Best, please.
Good evening, everybody here. My one quick question is, can you honestly say that this council is honest and open with the public? Simple as that. Thank you.
Again, no answer. Simple question.
Lisa Baggs, please.
Is this council selfless?
The sound is always useless here in terms of us hearing what the council says.
is there any apologies for absence, please?
Councillor Hawkes, Councillor Andy Kenton, Councillor Jenny Kenton and Councillor Watson and Councillor Hussey.
Thank you very much. Is there any declarations of interest in this evening, please?
Yes, Madam Chairman, on the confidential matters, I'm the director of the establishment as mentioned.
Thank you, Councillor Eggins. Councillor Bulmer?
Yeah, on the same item, but with different reasons. My partner is actually works at that establishment as well.
We can never hear what any of you are saying. 4 years I've been in this town. Every person
Madam Deputy Mayor,
I'll
I'll repeat
the
it.
same trouble.
Madam Deputy Mayor, I'll repeat it. On the same item, I will declare an interest because my partner works at the Hub on a Friday afternoon at the Grey Building. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bulmer. Any other declarations of interest? Nope. Okay. Moving on, to resolve and exclude members of the press and public because there is a confidential item. Can I get a proposer and a seconder for that, please? Councillor Bates, Councillor Eggins. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 2023/43, which is the full council meeting minutes, and that's to confirm and sign the minutes from the full town council meeting on the 13th of March. Does anybody have any comments on these? Does anybody want to propose? Councillor Bulmer, seconded by Ruth Page. All those in favour? Against? Abstentions?
I wasn't present at the meeting.
Thank you. 2 abstentions. Um, 2023/44 committee matters. Independent report to resolve to formally adopt the independent report produced by Chris Rowley and agree to adopt the recommendations within the report being of the independent investigation formally resolved to be commissioned at full council meeting 25th of October 2022. This is not particularly for discussion, but it is to formally adopt that report. So, does anybody have any comments on that? Councillor Bulmer, I think you're first, then Councillor Eggins.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Yes, I think we've actually got to adopt the recommendations anyway. I won't name how many there are because it's still technically confidential. But this is the point I am struggling with because I think we were assured a couple of weeks ago that the report would be released before we actually adopted the recommendations. That's the only issue I've got with it. On that basis, we also agreed to put £3,000 forwards for the legal advice. We haven't heard anything from the legal advice that was, I assume we've actually got it. I think we should, ourselves and the members of the public should be aware of what that legal advice actually states. And I've also got a problem with the actual cost of the whole process, not just this in the last few months, but over a number of years, because as one of the members of the public quite rightly said, it is actually quite substantial, and that really does concern me, because at the end of the day, it is public money, and that money could be better spent on providing services for this country.
Councillor Eggins, please.
Thank you, Deputy Madam Chairman. Something similar to Councillor Bulmer. I do feel that maybe we should adopt the report first of all, and then do the recommendations on a later date. They are not time critical, in my opinion, the recommendations, but actually the report being released is. This way that actually the public then will be able to see our recommendations and understand. So tonight we would be voting, but they're not aware of actually what the recommendations are. If, however, we do actually vote tonight and we are actually taking everything on board and we are voting and it does pass, could we also have a time and a date and access for the public so they can actually see where the report is, whether it's going to be printed or whether it's going to be on the website. Thank you.
Should it be tomorrow? That's going to be the indication that
So you have an auction, you need to date, please.
Okay. Anybody else want to make any more comments? So, are we going to formally adopt the report? Councillor Bates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to say that I propose that we adopt the report and its recommendations. That is all we are doing at this stage. The release of the Freedom of Information Act and the time and the date is separate to adopting the report and the recommendations, and that's all we're voting on right now today is the adopting the report as it says in the agenda. Thank you.
What are you frightened of?
Am I allowed to comment?
I would just remind members of the public that public participation has finished, and so it would be most acceptable for you to remain silent during this time. Councillor Eggins.
Yeah, sorry to come back. Do we have a date of when it's being released? Sorry to be on the spot.
Not as far as I know. I'll just ask one of the officers.
should it be tomorrow? And if Freedom of Information Act, what was that? Freedom of Information Act.
Sorry, I didn't hear the person that's just spoken. So I'm going to carry on. It will be published tomorrow.
Redacted or not redacted?
It will be published tomorrow, end of sentence.
Okay, thank you.
So I had a proposal from Councillor Bates. Do I get a seconder on that? Okay. All those in favour of accept adopting the report and the recommendations, please. Can I get a show of that? Unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. The date of the next meeting is Tuesday the 9th of May at 7 o'clock. And thank you very much everyone for coming. We will now go into confidential session.
Can we confirm that it will be published tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Definitely. On the website. On the
Yeah.